Welcome back, guys. My video's been goofing up. I don't know how long it's gonna work. I really don't. It's up and down, off and on. I really don't know what it's doing. But while I still have time, and while this seems like this thing's working, I thought it'd be cool to give you all a quick little lesson, and it's kind of a fun lesson along the lines of the apostles, the disciples themselves. All right, there being 12 of them, and of course, in the teachings, they wind up being the skin, number 5. They wind up being, they're with the multitudes. All right, because every time you hear about the multitudes, they're not far. They either come up first and then the multitudes show up, or the multitudes are there and then they show up. But they always come in around the same time. So I've always represented them, and of course that's the way it works in the Bible code, as the skin, that they represent the number 5. All right. So, but at the same time, we have to look at them as being 12, in this set, okay? And we're going to put them through the ringer, as well as, there's the Last Supper as well, where they've got 4 groups, two setups and threes, and 2 setups and threes on the right and left, and with Jesus in the middle. And for years and years and centuries, people have been saying, that looks an awful lot like the sun in the middle, with the constellations hanging to the left and right of him. And of course, it supposedly goes from spring and summer, fall and winter. All right, and that puts Judas, right close to Jesus, real close. All right, right next door to him, as a matter of fact. And so, it's very interesting. They have different names for these guys. Like, they start off with like Bartholomew, and I don't believe it. I just don't think so. And they claim, for a long time they only knew a couple of them. But they were still speculating. I would think, because I put this to the code, the only ones that I'm not really sure of, like who they might be, it would be the last 5. All right. So the way this is going to work out, I want you to understand this, is that 12. 12 is the clock. 12 is also the world. All right, which is north, east, south, and west. And when this is mentioned in the book, it usually has to do with God in the middle with these 4 things, and he rides around on. This is from Ezekiel. All right. But when they get up there and we're allowed to see heaven, they saw the face of a man. That's Aquarius. And then they saw a face of a bull, which is Taurus. And they saw a face of a lion, which is Leo. And they saw a face of an eagle, which at that time represented Scorpio. All right. All right, so what we get out of that is the 4 corners of the world, all right? And that's our world. And what we are trying to do is we're trying to get from west, which is just man's mind on its own, the carnal mind by itself. We want to get all the way through over to the east side, the higher mountain side, where this God and better, higher energy is. And it's the east. We always want to pitch our tents to the east, right, where the sun rises. And of course, this is all about meditation, and I just wanted to show you how this works. All right. Now, there's many different ways you can go and research on your own. All right, the number and how these people came about in the book. All right. I spent a good part of the morning going over, just torrents of what people think, all right? But I found this one place that's just talking right off the Bible, how it shows up in the Bible. So here's where it goes, all right? And so we're starting off from 1, we're going to go down to 12, and we're starting off with Aries, and it goes to Taurus and Gemini. Those are the first 3, all right? Remember, we're using the code. And the code number, the 1, 2, and 3, is the beginning of all of these stories. It sets them up. All right? Is it going to be a good thing? Or it's going to be a bad thing. And here we get a reference. All right. So when Jesus comes onto the scene, the first thing he does is meet up with John the Baptist, and John the Baptist has 2 disciples of his own. So he kind of mentions over the Son of God, the Lamb, the Lamb of God. And Andrew hears this, goes and gets his brother Peter, and they start following Jesus. So those are the first ones, okay, after he gets baptized. Of course, this dove ascends from heaven onto his head. All right? And that's, of course, that's this beautiful energy from the left side of our, or right side of our brain coming down. There's this, the female energy is hidden underneath the feathers of a dove. All right. She is also the Holy Ghost. All right. Let's see. So what we have here is John, Andrew, and Peter. So John and Andrew are the first ones, and Peter winds up being the third. So that's Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. John, the grace, mercy of the Lord. The name Andrew, a strong man. That's 2. And the 3 is Peter, one that hears and obeys. Now there's another one later on that does that too, but Peter becomes the one that hears and obeys. So this is 1, 2, 3. All right. Next thing we have 4 more characters showing up. This is going to be Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra. And I kind of have to just pose one of them that I found because, I'm not sure. But now we got the number 4 coming in, which is the world, which is what we're talking about. So Philip winds up being the West, the part that we're talking about, our intellect. It's very warlike. His name means warlike, and a lover of horses. All right. And so the next one, we have Nathaniel, James, and Matthew. All right. And whatever those orders were in, I'm not so sure, but if you listen to their names, what they were, Matthew has got to be the east side because it winds up being the given the reward. But the gift of God has got to be our emotions, and this has to be something to do with well, to supplement, to undermine the heel. This one here, his name is James. That has got to be the north. This is the one that makes the change. Yeah, okay, so let's change that one there to north, which is our emotions. And it's the supplant. It's the guy that makes the change, all right? And undermines the heel. This is the idea, this is where it comes from the north. That does all of this undermining. It's our emotions. So we're going to give that one the north. All right. And Nathaniel, which is the Bartholomew guy, is the gift of God. So we're going to give that one there the south, which is our skin. The flesh side of us is the gift of God. That's the fleshy side, which is the south. All right. The physical nature of us. All right, so that wraps up the 4 worlds. We got Philip, this warlike person or individual that likes horses, and and that's in Cancer. We have Nathaniel as being the south, our physical side. We have James as being the north. Which just happens to be Virgo, the female part of the sign. Okay, that's the part of the north. I wanted to show you that. And Matthew is that's Libra, given reward. This is what we get out of it. Is we get a Libra, which is balance. That's the whole point of all this. I hope with those ears that hear. Did you hear that? I was hoping. I wish you could see what I'm seeing too. All right, so what happens is those guys are all on the top hours, the daylight hours. Now, the rest of these are all nighttime hours. They go from fall to winter, or from, evening to morning, till you can get back over to the daytime. And that's their underworld, and it all starts right after this Virgo and this James the supplement, once this heel is bruised, then the reward is on its way. We get backbitten by Scorpio, which leaves us the kiss of death. All right, and that's this bottom 5 people here in all the stories that I've read today. There's no order that they have them in. But they almost all of them put Judas Iscariot at the bottom. All right, but those bottom 5. Now look, 5 is about our skin. All right, and so we would see that. That this is going to work out really nice. But as far as like the order is in there, we could work on that together and see if we can fix that in some way. But what we got 5 guys, and this is all the underworld, which is Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Yeah. So remember now, it's it's Scorpio is the backbiter. Sagittarius and Capricorn, this is where the sun physically dies, where the sun dies in the real world. In our minds, this is where we die in our minds, is in this underworld while we are in meditation. All right. So again, let me get these names out. Thomas, James the Less, Judas, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot. All right. Now Thomas means a twin. All right. So he just means a twin. All right. So what you get out of this is, the duality. We're number 2. A 2 is, all right. And remember, he's also the doubting Thomas too. All right. And so this is our skin. All right, the ones that have said, "Oh, your faith, you have least, no faith or whatever." James the Less. Now he's called from this place called Alphaeus. All right, which means change or exchange. All right. It also means a supplement to heal. This undermines. We got a James up here that says that undermines the heal. So this is to change. All right, to change or to exchange. And this should all be talking about our skin. All right. Judas is the praise of the Lord. All right, Judas, we are the praise of the Lord, the skin, you and me, the Lamb of God. All right, the praise of the Lord. And we have Simon the Zealot. This is about hearing. And it also about hears or means to obey. So we get that same idea that we have up here with Peter. All right. Well, remember Peter and Simon. They're the Peter, Simon. They, do you understand how that's working out? And of course we got Judas down here, the escargot. We got the praise of the Lord for Judas, but his last name means let's meet or get together. They've been calling it a man, the man of murder, all right, because, he have to betray the flesh, and we call it killing ourselves. And so it's a type of murder or betraying. It's a betraying of the flesh. We're about to go in, we're tricking our mind from letting it have its own way to giving it over to God and letting God have its way. That's basically what we're doing. And he gives it over, of course, for 30 pieces of silver, which really all we're working off is the number 3, which is about the intervention, right? Which is this one who obeys, and this one who is rewarded in the long run because of that. 1, 2, 3. He cuts his head off, right? And then they use his money to go and buy a potter's field, all right? Now, potter's field is for those people that are broken, who are separated, their vessels, they're broken. That's really what that means. He's not broken. He's been turned back whole again. You have to understand that Judas was not a bad guy in the story. The guy who gets the sop is the main person. As you see, he's praised by the Lord. He's the only person that he can trust in this group to do it. He has a dumb group. This whole group is dumb. All right. The fishers of men, I want you to think about that, and I'm going to close with it. But the fishers of men is this idea of even the ibis being an ibis bird with this really long bill goes down deep and in the darkness, out of its sight, for it to get its nourishment from. It pulls it out of the depths. So being fishermen, and it's a type of hunting that you are to fish from the depths of, of the oceans, and it's just all really wonderful, and how it all works out. Can you see it? It's beautiful, and so I was looking up the Last Supper and how they've got it set up. They've got all these people set up right, but they don't have all their names correct. And this would be the only way that they could do it the way this works, because Virgo and all these guys, they just worked out just well. I'm just going to show you. Can you see it? Can you see it? Here's the one. This is the 1, 2, 3, and then the worlds 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the body you meet 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But it just is. It's just really cool, you guys. It's just absolutely wonderful. So we even get this information, this code, from their numbers and from the people themselves. All right, and that's pretty cool, because there's another set of them, and that's Jacob's family. Jacob's children are the Old Testament 12. So just wanted to show you that, starting off at Aries and Taurus and Gemini with the first 3. It's this you and I. This is just so cool as hell, you guys. I'm going to do the one on the Thunder Brothers. The Thunder Brothers, I bet they're going to be around here. The brothers are going to wind up being, something to do with the throat, or the heart. Who knows what it is, but there's some great things that came out of me looking for this. So it'll make some real fun chat later on. Alright, so chat with you later. Love you. Bye.